All right, what's up, everybody? This is Matthew Braithwaite from the Inside the Lines podcast. I'm here at a new setup. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina with Dillon Lewis. It's been a long time. Very excited for this episode. Dillon, just to give you a bit of background, from Columbia, Maryland, attended Queens University before he was drafted to the MLB, the New York Yankees, in the 13th round last year in 2024. He's already played his first full season, just finished up. Full season.
Yep, just finished up.
Already has a 20 home run, 20 stolen base season, just killing it, man. Player of the Month award, been promoted. You're currently on the Renegades team, right?
Yes.
Excited for you too. So Dillon, welcome to the podcast. Really excited to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll start. We like to do on the Inside the Lines podcast. We like to start all the way from the beginning. So talk a little bit about your sport. You're in baseball, so we'd love to know, your early experiences with baseball, some of your earliest stories, maybe a little bit about who got you into the game, and how you developed along.
Yeah, so I guess it goes way back. I think I was probably 4 years old when I started playing T-ball for the first time.
Okay.
I don't know how bought in I was at the time. I think I was getting yelled at by grandparents and parents playing in the dirt. So kind of the beginnings, I feel like everybody has.
Right.
And then from there, I played a little bit of everything growing up. Baseball is a sport that it kind of stuck. I think I just enjoyed it growing up. I had my successes. I think that kind of kept me coming back even at a young age.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it was nice to play. And then being in Maryland, you get 4 seasons, so it was baseball was a spring sport.
Right.
And then in the fall it was football. In the wintertime it was basketball. So you really had time to do a little bit of everything. But just being able to get out there and be around the teammates and everybody growing up, kind of kept me to it.
That's awesome. So you mentioned basketball, you mentioned football. Those were like the other main 2 sports that you played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know that you have 2 younger brothers. They're both focusing in those 2 different sports. Curious, when you were playing basketball growing up, you ever go at them with it in the driveway, figure things out, or?
Yeah, no, that's where Ryan got all his talent from. Our matches in the backyard and driveway on the little tight hoops.
Taught him a few things.
Yeah, he had to learn how to play some real ball, to get some wins. That's the same goes for Sean with football.
Right.
It was great to continue to do, all of that with them because they were a big part of this.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your dad, he actually played basketball, right?
Yes.
Okay, but your uncle played baseball. Is that who really taught you, okay, this is how you get from, point A to point B, or you kind of just did it on your own?
It was a lot of figuring out what I was doing. I don't want to say I'm my own, because I had a great support system with everybody, but in terms of immediate family, like I said, nobody really did play baseball around, so I didn't really have anybody in the house I was looking up to, I want to be like that, but at the same time, I think it let me carve my own path, and then was able to have, the support and resources to keep playing throughout.
Absolutely.
So in terms of that, just kind of kept the wheels pedaling.
Yeah, super cool. So I saw on your other podcast, you talked a little bit about this question that we like to ask athletes, when did you start taking your sport seriously, or when did you have that belief that, you got drafted last year, bro? When did you know that was an attainable goal? And I loved what you said. You talked about, hey, at the end of my high school season, I'm doing well. Why does this have to be the end, right? Why can't I go play in college? But, once you got to college, you said, oh, why does this have to be the end? And I'm because you're about to go to the majors, that's the next level up. So I'm curious, where did some of this confidence come from? Whether it's from obviously you were killing it on the field, but whether it was people saying hey, I see your talent, your coaches maybe telling you dude, you have something special that we haven't seen. What, in addition to your play and what was on the court, what kept you going and what kept in the back of your mind, hey, this is an attainable goal for me? Yeah, no,
I think for me it was, I kind of heard some things, I guess, probably around the time I was 11, 12 years old, starting to travel. There were people that had been around baseball and they would look and watch and be like, hey, you've got special talent. So just hearing those things obviously kind of kept me going. And then in terms of just playing baseball, I think, I started taking things seriously, I think around going into high school. Baseball became almost a year-round thing because I was living in Florida. That's the best time to be outside in the winter months. So, it kind of just allowed me to stay around the game. And then from there, like you said, the mindset was just hey, I enjoy doing this. I'm not going to cap myself to hey, this is how long I need to play for.
Right. So in high school is when people started saying, "Hey, you have some talent like this."
Yeah, and there was definitely still ups and downs. Like I kind of came into my own, I think, as a player not until like my senior year.
Okay.
So like it took time. I was not the best player by any means for a while. When I was out there, but
Yeah.
I kind of had the belief where I could be. It's
Yeah.
like if I keep doing what I'm doing, like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Playing a sport at the level and in high school, and then on to the next one. So
Right.
it's kind of like I said, having that belief
Yeah.
kind of kept me going.
Yeah. This guy's humble. I remember we went to I still remember we went and checked out one of your games. I think when you guys were still in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled up, this guy like first or second hit, hits a bomb. I'm like, talk about it, he wasn't that good. It's okay. I let it go. But no, so I saw your senior year. Were you still in Florida or were you in?
I moved up to North Carolina.
So North Carolina, your senior year. You win Player of the Year in your conference. You're thinking about next steps. Like, talk to me about your recruiting process. Like going from college baseball. This is something I want to do. And then making the decision to go to your parents' alma mater, Queens.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time because we moved here the summer before my senior year, middle of COVID. So recruiting was a little lopsided. The Division I programs couldn't go out and recruit.
Right.
Their rosters were a mess. To be nice about it, I guess. Guy they would call and be like, "Hey, you can come get a shot, but we have 50 guys on our team,
right?
And 9 can play at once,
right?
We have 9 outfielders. There's only 3 spots, like that kind of deal. So I had a lot of good advice and good people in my ear telling me, hey, make sure you've got the talent to do it. So just make sure you can go somewhere where you can play and don't get lost in kind of the shuffle.
Right.
That happens sometimes, because that was unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
It was kind of one in whatever chance, of that all happening. So
absolutely.
I known about Queens. Obviously, my parents had gone there, but I had never really made it like a point to I want to go play baseball there. Yeah. They didn't have a program until 6-7 years ago.
Wow.
So, it wasn't something growing up where I wanted to do this. But however, at the time, the opportunity came about. They were able to come watch me play and they liked what they saw. And after going on the, tours of school and visits and all that stuff, it was, became apparent it could be somewhere where I could, kind of at least, plant myself.
Right.
Then continue to grow from. So.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And when you get there, right, or when you're making that decision, I know you said in the beginning, I wanted to play in college. At this time, were you thinking about is this a place where I could pivot to the pros, or you were just thinking, hey, I want to first step, get on the field?
Yeah, no, it was really first step, just get on the field.
Yeah,
it was Division II at the time. So that's in itself is kind of, you don't see too many. It's just numbers. You don't see too many people go from that level to the next. But it's I didn't really think about that in my decision. It was really hey, well, how can I just take care of what I need to take care of? You know? And then things will sort themselves out.
Yeah. I love I was doing a little research. I love what you had on your bio, because I think it's just crazy seeing the progression. They asked, I think, for your page, it's why Queens for you? And yours was, I chose Queens because of the location, the coaches, opportunities within my major. And I was like, wow, that's such he's being so chill about it. Just a place where I think I could thrive, I could get a good schooling, and play like you said. And literally, you're going to be in the league in 2 to 3 years. It's just crazy to see, that development. But you mentioned one thing just now about it being a Division II school. After your first year, you guys went to Division I, right?
Yeah.
What was that process like? I've never seen it. What was that process like transitioning?
It was different. There was, kind of rumblings of things going to happen toward the back half of our spring season, my first year. And then I think it was July of that year, they made the decision to join the ASUN. And I mean, it's a change in the dynamic of everything. You do everything different. Division II schedule, we're playing 3 days a week with a, doubleheader on Saturdays, 9 and a 7-inning game.
Yeah.
And then, you're traveling the day of the games.
Right.
You're not really going too far away. It's all pretty regional.
Right.
The hours, the practice hours before the season are different. Season's a little bit shorter as well, but going into Division I, now, you're going out of state, you're flying to places, you're traveling a day before the games.
Yeah.
So now your weekends that were Friday, Saturday, turn into, Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Sometimes not getting back till Monday morning.
Right.
First thing in the morning. And then on top of that, you have one day to go to class, turn around, and then you play on Tuesday. So it was definitely a very busy schedule.
Right.
But it also, and the competition as well, it's a different level of competition on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
We had the opportunity to go play some of the Power Fours. You go down to South Carolinas, you go play the Dukes, the Chapel Hills, all those schools. You get to see like what the elite of the elite looks like. And I found that to be a challenge, but like a really good one. It's really cool to see like how you measure up, against that.
That makes a lot of sense. So you saw it in the competition, but also like the preparation that you guys were doing behind the scenes.
Yes.
So longer practice hours. You guys do like more weight room stuff, or is it just like
the program stayed kind of similar, but I think we definitely tweaked it a little bit.
Okay.
Ramp
it up. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So your first year, I remember I saw you guys went in, started killing. As started 33 out of 39 games you played, hit 350 with a couple homers. That's big. And 13 all conference. Second year, the transition to D1, it was a little slower, right? Like played 38 games, started 23, hit 233, but like a little bit of off year. I'm curious during that time, like you made the transition. This could be like a hurdle for you. Like want to know like what kept you grounded, what kept you confident. I don't know if you had like a technical thing that you changed, but like I'm about to read the third year stats, which are crazy, but I'm just like through the rough time. Like what types of things got you through?
So I was that year was tricky because, like I said, it was our first year going in Division I, and I had also gotten hurt right before the year started in the fall.
Right.
So I had my second meniscus surgery in 2 years.
Wow.
So I missed 5 months leading up to the season, and then coming back, I wasn't fully healthy either in a place where like I was able to get the most out of like my skill set. So you kind of balance that. You balance like I'm not sure because it's a new level, and then you also mix in like the physical limitations. Of going into a season like that. I definitely had some tough days. It wasn't easy. I kind of believe, so I kind of had the belief that everything was gonna be okay. I knew that it was only my second year. I didn't really have to everything figured out at the time, but also, like I said, there were long days in there. And there were times where I really did have to sit back and look and reflect and fight off the doubt, fight off the thoughts that creep in anybody's mind when something like that's going through. So it definitely kind of like it wasn't fun in the time, but I think it definitely set me up, for what was to come and for the future. Because baseball is a sport where that stuff happens all the time.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, that on top of the fact that baseball, like you said, is a game of you're gonna go through a slump or two. Throughout your career. So it was about mainly getting healthy. That's probably step one. But second, just kind of looking yourself in the mirror and being like, I still got this.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit of that. Okay.
Sure.
Did you have any like coaches particularly that like were like, you're gonna be straight, or like anybody that was like kind of in your corner throughout the time? Or
honestly, I think that through that time it was a lot of relying on like my inner circle. A lot of my really good friends, good teammates. Because they were the ones that have seen me. When I was at my best, right? And they're the ones that would remind me of, that's who you really are. And in terms of, because there's always like the pressure of performing and all that stuff. Like in terms of, that's how people make lineups. That's how people, go out there and coaches try and go out there and try to win. So it's a little bit different on that side of the ball sometimes. But then having people on your side that, they know who you are and they're like, hey, this isn't you. And we know this isn't you. And just those thoughts always helps.
Yeah. They know you're gonna shake.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna read the third year stats.
Okay.
You started every one of your 55 games that you played. 371 batting average, 22 home runs, 729 slugging, 63 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. First team all conference.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good third year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm curious, like, were there people in your circle or people maybe even from the outside reaching out and be like, dude, like this is, you could play at the next level. Like you've proven yourself. This is Division I now.
Yeah.
Proved yourself at this level. Like, maybe you should ask about like, hear what a scout has to say, or like, like what was that process like after that type of year?
So I mean, it was It kind of started before the year in the fall.
Really?
So
Okay.
over that summer before, I did a whole lot of rehab
Okay.
with the knee.
Right.
I didn't think that it was where I really wanted it to be
Right.
at the time. So I was like, hey, well, let me make sure subconsciously at least I'm
Yeah.
trusting my body,
Right.
because I think that was number one thing for me to be
Absolutely.
able to access all the parts of my game that I
Yeah.
kind of need to. And then we had a coaching change, and coming into the fall, early on, like they just kind of instilled like a new confidence in everybody, but myself included, and
Right.
had those conversations of like, hey, do you want to be a pro? Like, is that something that you desire? Because like, they're like, hey, we see the traits in you, so it's like, if you want to do it, yeah, we can practice a little bit different. We can hold you a little bit different standard, but it's also something that we believe will be able to get you there. It's like just hearing those things at a time where in the fall it's pretty like secluded. You're on, you're practicing at the fields. Like, there's not a lot of outside attention.
Yeah.
We only had like I think one outside competition game, but throughout that time, just kind of noticing the strides I was making week by week, continued to help build the confidence, going into the season.
Right. So preseason, your coaches are like, wait, we have something here. Like we can like help you and push you to get to this next level. Yeah. Like, oh wow. So that's pretty cool. So new coaches coming in through the door, give you that confidence. You start playing. Obviously you're killing it. Did anybody like throughout the season, like, because you finish your third year, then you get drafted, you forgo your fourth year. Like, when did that decision, I don't know, like start like creeping in, like, hey, this is what I might do, this is what I'm feeling?
So I think it definitely picked up steam as the year went on. That's just kind of how I think things go. Like I said, I was kind of on the later side of things in terms of the professional scouting, because it was almost all of it was done my third year.
Right.
So there wasn't really a track record of things before that. And for better or for worse, some people like that, some scouts, and people don't. So it was kind of like understanding what they wanted to see out of players, and I think organization has their own check marks they look for. So more and more people started coming out, and then you kind of start noticing that when there's only 50 people at the game and there's 25 scouts, like like the numbers like that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, this is, there's something going on here. A little bit of steam going. And then I guess the decision of doing it was, kind of one I had to make, but also, I kind of had thought about it for a while in terms of like, this is something that this was the goal of mine, and if the opportunity is going to be there, I'm not going to say no to a door that's opening.
Absolutely.
So I think that was easier for me on my side of things.
Right. Did you feel any pressure? I mean, you said there's 25 out of 75 people there that are probably have what a Phillies hat, Yankees hat on. Like, did you ever feel like a different sort of pressure with that, or did you just kind of just do your own thing?
No, not really. I think because with that, it's like just kind of you earned it. That's kind of the biggest thing. I would always just remind myself, like, they're here for a reason. They're here to watch me play. So all I can do for that is play. And it's like we play so many games. It's not like one bad game that's going to be the end all be all. Also, same goes for a good game. So it's like it's like really just all I can do for myself is go out there and just be me. Right.
No, that's awesome. We'll take a quick break before we get to your professional career so far. But yeah, this has been great. It's been great so far.
Yep.
Sweet. So, draft day comes around. You're obviously in there, waiting for your name to be called. Yankees come up, and this is your childhood favorite team. Like, walk me through that process, man. I mean, you've been a Yankees fan for a long time. I know you started. Were you always a Yankees fan, or did you have an Orioles phase a little bit? Or like,
I was always a Yankees fan. So I went to Yankee game when I was like 6 years old. We had box seats. My grandfather got like these great tickets through his company. I think from that day on, it was
always Yankees.
I was Yankees. I'd pull up the game or whatever I'd be doing and pull it on TV and be like, oh, I've been there. I've seen Derek Jeter play, watched him win a World Series. With my mom, when I was same age really. So that's kind of where it started. Just really didn't falter from there.
Right. So I mean, what was it like getting your name called by your favorite team, your favorite organization? Like, what?
Surreal. It's still surreal. Like, I still don't even. I haven't even like connected all the dots because I can think back to, when I was in high school, like middle school, high school, and watching the Yankees in the playoffs and being so invested into like everything they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and just watching them, you know, succeed, watching them fail, and
right.
hurting when they were failing, and you know, having fun when they were succeeding. So,
right.
you know,
right.
just the mix all in itself
Yeah.
really just was like, okay, well now I'm a part of it.
Right.
You know, I still kind of try and learn that on a daily basis.
Right.
You know, I think because it's hard to understand sometimes where, you know, they're still, the guys are still like, the Yankees are still at the top. That's still like the very peak of the mountain, I'd say. But at the same time, I'm definitely well on my way, you know? And with that being said, it's like, hey, I can show up and the things that I do now have an impact on the actual organization.
Yeah.
And just that feeling in itself, like I said, is something where
you
know, I haven't really got over that yet.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you could be contributing to the team in like a few years, you know, hopefully soon. So I can edit. It's really no problem. Hello. It's no problem at all. No, that's really cool. So walk me through like draft day, like the process. I know, you know, there's a lot of rounds of baseball. It's like a little bit less televised than like NBA. Like for the viewers at home that aren't too familiar, like get your name called. Now what? Like, what happens?
So it says with a bunch of family. We're out in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, my dad had a conference, so he would have technically, if we did anything here, he wouldn't be able to be there. So that wasn't going to happen. So months in advance, he had already planned on putting something together for everybody. So a lot of close friends and family out there.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you kind of just sitting there waiting. You hear things from teams, and you know, your agent will kind of fill you in on what everybody's thinking, but nobody knows really because you know, there are 20 rounds. And there's 600 guys get picked a year, so you really don't know where or when. You get like a little inkling, maybe you know which teams are kind of onto you heavy, but at the same time, like I said, there's so much uncertainty in it. So to see your name pop up, I'd say honestly, it's more, like it was a relief at first. You know, it's definitely because. Like I said, it's tense, it's fun, but it's also it's just tense. So now, like you know that, hey, you know, the work's kind of paid off to this point, and then you know you hear your name called, and you know people start reaching out and calling, and then the Yankees, so they reached out. I heard from my area scout, so the local guy that I've been in contact with, and you know he called and was like, hey, you know, congratulations. He's fired up because you know I'm one of his guys.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, you know, our plan will be to get you down to Tampa within the week. So I think I drafted on Tuesday, and I was down there on Sunday.
Wow.
You know, and then getting started with physicals.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, that next crazy. Monday morning, signing contracts, all that stuff. So it was really things happen quick. It happened even fast for other people. You know, I know people that were there within 2 days.
Wow. Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of like you don't have a lot of time to process. Really, so you have time to enjoy it, but not a lot of time to process.
Right.
So
because
it's really just. It's a unique experience.
Yeah. You got to get to work immediately. Yeah. That's crazy. So your area scout called you. When you're signing is this like the Yankees GM that's sending you papers, or like how does that work?
Yeah, so we're with some other people in the front office.
Okay.
It wasn't with the general manager, but you know, you're still around like I said, a lot of the people in the front office that handle that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like 5 or so people in the room when we were doing it. Family was there too, though.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to take the pictures, and put the jersey on, and you know, put pen to paper.
Right.
So you know, it was really exciting time to have everybody involved in all of that as well.
Absolutely. No, I remember seeing the flick. We'll put it up on the show. But no, it was awesome. So there's a long process, like notoriously for like minor, like get drafted, minors to majors. Like, how have you thought about your journey and like that process for you? Like knowing that, you know, your time is coming, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, you know, making sure like, you know, you're staying confident throughout the time, and, you know, kind of having the North Star, like still be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's just understanding, like, I guess the day-to-day process of it really pays off more than anything, because like you said, if you take that step back, there are 4 or 5 levels in the minor leagues. You know, you have to, that's multiple call-ups, that's multiple new teams, new locker rooms, new cities, new leagues, all that stuff. So if you think about it that way, I think it's easy to kind of like get a little bit overwhelmed just from the start. But then when you're doing something on a day-to-day basis, like, you know, you just kind of learn your way on what works for you. And that's kind of how I think it's all about momentum. And if you're able to just build momentum and kind of ride the wave with it, you know, I kind of had a coach told me this year, like, you really, like, you're not going to know when the time's going to come when they're going to tell you you're a Major League Baseball player, right? Yeah. So in that, you really have to know it well before it, right? Otherwise, there's no point, Absolutely. So it's like, you can be an A-ball, you can know that you're a Major League Baseball player, and then when you'll blink and you're in Double A, you'll blink and you're in Triple A, and then all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you get a phone call, and you're going to the Bronx, right? Yeah. But it's like, if you have that belief, to do that, I feel like that kind of keeps you pushing, and in the times where there are the valleys, and then keeps you level when you have the peaks as well. Right. Just knowing that you're always working, like good, bad. There's ways to fail the right way. That's one of the bigger things I've learned this year. And that's really important because it's a long season. It's 162 games in the major leagues, 130 in the minors. Wow. It's like it's impossible to be great every day. It really is. So if you're able to just kind of keep yourself balanced, and then know that what you're doing is helping you kind of progress, just on a personal level, that kind of helps shrink how daunting, I guess, it can be, knowing that you're climbing the ranks of the minor system. Right. I'm gonna come back to your ride the wave analogy because I really like that. But I want you to expand a little bit more on what you mean by failing the right way. Like baseball, a lot of people say it's a game of failure. Yeah. Like, talk a little bit more about like what that means to you and maybe how it looks both on the field and like off the field. Yeah. So I think the Yankees, I kind of can give props to the organization itself. Like, they really preach that there's a way to do it. And by what I mean by failing the right way is when you play a game so many times, you have so many opportunities to succeed. Right. You're also just not going through all the time. There are going to be times where you're going to get beat by a fastball. You're going to hit a baseball as hard as you can, and there's going to be a shortstop or second baseman or a center fielder standing right there and catching it in their chest, right? Right. And like, there's nothing you can do about it. There's going to be times in the field where you accidentally make an error, right? And it's a ball that you made play on 100 times before. Right. But in understanding, like, hey, that's one moment and it's just a little blip. Like, it's okay. And if your intent is in the right space, especially in terms of hitting, because how difficult it is. That ball that you hit hard to the center fielder might be the key that unlocks you to, get 20 hits your next 40 at bats, following that after. Right. Because, hey, my swing's in a good spot. I just happen to do what, the numbers say that shouldn't happen. Right. And in terms of that, like, being able to keep your confidence and not think like, I haven't gotten a hit. I haven't got a hit all day, but I've hit 3 balls extremely hard. Like, because over the course of a year, you hit 3 balls extremely hard every game, you're going to be looking at the end of the year and be like, wow, like that kind of deal. So just not getting caught up in the day-to-day feels of baseball, and it's a very emotional game too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you hit a ball hard the whole time, you're going to find a gap. Right. Eventually. That's very smooth. So I want to go back to your ride the wave analogy. Yeah. Because you've done a little bit of for sure. Your first year. You've already been promoted from your first team to the Renegades now. Player of the month already for your first team. And then you also had a 2020 season, right? First year in the talk about like that process. How has your process been adapting to Major League, and like, how have you felt moving through? Like, what are some things that you've looked at or you've kept centered that have allowed you to have this type of early success? Right. No, I think I've learned so much already. It's like my year I started out. Well, I guess I'll take a step back and go to spring training. And in spring training, you get to be around everybody in the organization for like the month and a half, 2 months you're there. So it's a really cool time. Yeah. You're competing against guys in Triple A, Double A, the major big leagues, rookie ball, like all over, right? So it's really a good measuring stick, I feel like. Yeah. And I had a good spring, and I felt confident. I was swinging the bat well, and running around, playing defense. Like, was really feeling like, okay, well, you got a real opportunity to have some real success this year. And then April rolls around, our first month of the season, and I was terrible. To be straight up, like, numbers wise, I think I got a little too hot right before the season started. So it's just like the natural regression of baseball. But it was like I would look up and by the number, like batting average and all that stuff was not not a spot where I was like, hey, that's successful, or hey, that's gonna get me where I want to go. But at the same time, there were other things and other metrics that were like, hey, well, you're still hitting the ball hard. You're swinging the right pitches. You're not doing anything too wrong. And I had a lot of coaches and people on the outside like be able to tell me that and reassure me like, hey, well, it's such a long season. Like, this is harder than college. It's harder than anywhere else you've been. Like,
absolutely.
So you can't really, you have nothing to compare it to. So it's not fair to do that to yourself right now. And then, like you said, it went from April where I think I hit like 170, and then May turned around and was player of the month.
Yeah,
with 8 homers. So
it's crazy.
It's like the sport sometimes just can flip so fast. And in that, I learned the lesson of like, like you can go on the extended sometimes where you just don't feel like you got it at all. But like you said, if you kind of look at the things that you're doing that you are controlling well, they're going to be the stories in there to tell you like why you're going to come out of this, or maybe you're all going the wrong way, and you need to make some adjustments in this kind of way. But it's bigger than just the surface level things. So then going up to Hudson Valley, kind of the same deal, and like learning to adjust to that level of baseball. Took about a month, and then I had July and August where I felt like I couldn't be stopped, that kind of thing. But there were also times in there where it was like I'd have a week where I was like, oh, it's just I don't feel great. It's just not. This ain't working right now. But then the next week, next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it'd be like, wow, I can't do anything wrong. So like just kind of balancing that out and understanding that it happens, But also, when you do have success, that you had it for a reason. And that's kind of what I mean, I guess, by like riding it is like when you know you're having success, like go all in on what you've been doing, what's working. Stick to it.
Makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. So I want to go back to like spring training. Like I remember seeing a flick, Aaron Judge standing right next to you. Like that's pretty crazy. Right? Like talk about more so like the locker room or like in between your reps. Like did you ever get a chance to talk to some of those guys? Did they give you any advice? Like what are some things outside of like your play on the field that you've carried with you during your early pro career?
Yeah, so it's kind of a lot. Like we're separated for the most part. Like the major league team is over there, big league spring training, and then we have minor league at the complex. But early on, I was there early, so before the major league spring training started. So they were all around, the Jazz Chisholms, Anthony Volpe, like all those guys. And they were just cool people. Like you walk by them and say what's up, and they're gonna say what's up. They're gonna come and introduce themselves. So that's just kind of who they are.
That's awesome.
Like that's Waldo Cabrera is one of the guys. I mean, he's like the longest tenured Yankee with the organization. But he came and sat down, had lunch with me and my roommate.
Wow.
And just in the calf one day, and we talked for like 50 minutes.
That's
and
awesome.
it's just like just about life, and like what how he's living, how we're living, all this kind of stuff. So just kind of like learning and understanding how they've gone about their past. And then when opportunities do come up, like they have the big league games and guys go over there sometimes to you go back up and play the 7th, 8th, 9th inning of games, or you'll have like the opportunity I had to go live at bats, hitting off some of the big league guys with Aaron Judge. And, you're sitting there and like that guy he's a special person. Like as good as he is, like, he's extremely humble. He was kind of gassing me up a little bit more than I wanted to. So I'm like, hey man, don't say you're trying to be like me. You are saying 60 homers. And I'm not yet. I'm not yet. So I'm like, don't think too much of that. Because don't tell me I'm doing all that stuff. But like just having those conversations and understanding like, hey, these people, see what it looks like. Watching them like work. Sometimes you be like, wow, that's special. But it's not gonna. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I can never not be that. So it's just a very special time frame. I'd say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So 2 questions for that. First question, like, are you telling these guys, like, I've been a Yankees fan my whole life, like, bro?
Nah, I gotta keep that in.
Gotta keep it cool?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, hey, man, I was watching you when I was in 8th grade, man, you're trying to beat the Astros, and all this and that. But at the same time, like, I think if they ever do, if it comes up, I've been a Yankee fan. I'm not gonna sit here, I was living and dying by every single pitch.
So you're not like, can I get your autograph? It's just like kind of a chill thing.
Yeah, no, it's just a kind of cool thing.
I
feel like there's the time for that, down the line. So right now, my goal is to be in that position. So kind of getting there first is the main thing.
Okay. No, it makes a lot of sense. And then second question, like you talked about, you got the chance to like hit with Aaron Judge and be in that lineup. Are there any like, I don't know, pregame tendencies, like any technical things that you, I don't know, like picked up during that time that you've incorporated into your own like routine?
Well, I mean, for a guy like that, he's such a freak athlete. It's kind of like his routine's gonna be his routine.
Right.
You know, it's like it's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's like Curry. You know, there are no other shooters that probably warm up his routine.
Right.
You know, to get ready for a game, just because he can do some things that other people just can't. You know, but like just watching the attention to detail, even with somebody that's that talented, always I feel like it's something that's like it stands out to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because it's like keeping the main thing. And just being able to do that definitely is a benefit.
Yeah, awesome. So before we get into rapid fire questions, you're in Hudson Valley, Hudson Valley Renegades. When does your season start?
So our season starts in April. I don't know the exact date, but it's like the first weekend of April.
Okay. You guys have any? Is there fall ball going on at all? Or?
So yeah, but it's a different league. So like teams will. It's a major league sponsored league, Major League Baseball sponsored league. There's a fall league. Teams will send like 5 to 8 guys up there. Usually like rehabbing guys who miss time during the year for injuries, some prospects, all that. So it's a mix, but that's kind of the only thing that is going on that's like attached to minor league baseball throughout the off season. Yeah. So it's really a lot of just downtime right now.
Yeah, trying to do your thing. Okay, awesome. So they can catch you if they want to watch your games. Catch you in April.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good. 17. So we'll take another brief break and then we'll get into rapid fire.
All right, perfect.
Sweet.
Yep.
Ooh, man. All right, Dillon. So we're gonna do a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Saf, he wanted to know, do you have any game day like superstitions or like a specific routine that you have to do to make sure you're right?
I think before the games, like I kind of started this thing in college. I had these like a certain pair of socks I would always wear. So like I would wear them and then I put like my game socks over.
Okay.
So like they would kind of be like double. So now it's like before like in terms of like uniform wise, I always wear like 2 pairs of socks on my feet.
Right. Okay. Smooth. Favorite pregame song to listen to?
Ooh, it kind of like jumps around a little bit. I feel like I've had a different one almost like every year. I think this year it was The Time by Gunna was like the one song I kind of keep playing. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Like right before I go out there.
Is it always like a Gunna song or it doesn't matter?
Well, I'd say for the most it was the same song. Like right before, like the last thing I would listen to would be like that one song. It would change a little bit. I'm completely blanking on what it was before. I started like before I went to Hudson Valley, honestly. Yeah. Because in Tampa we used to drive. Right. Because our field was away from our complex, so we would drive 5 minutes. We always had time in the car to like, just decompress for a second. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. Pre-game meal, like what are you having? Well, it really depends. They bring a lot of different food. They do a good job switching it up. One of my favorites, so we would do like rice bowls. So we like the shrimp, rice. Get some peppers and stuff in there. Some beans, a little guac. Like just kind of mix it up. A lot of little Latin twists. A lot of food to eat. So yeah, it's a lot of pretty good stuff. Rice bowls, food. You have a teammate. I'll give you. Since you've been in the pros and college. Okay. Who's your funniest teammate that you've had? I think in college, it's got to be Isaiah Bennett. And then in the pros, I feel like there's a lot of funny guys in the pros. I don't know. I think I played with Parks Harbor this year. Went to UNC. He's just the most authentically himself dude I've ever met. So it was always a good time talking to him. Shout out those guys. You have a teammate. I'll give you another one. You have a teammate like you're stranded on a deserted island. Like who's the one teammate you would want to bring with? Who's gonna keep y'all alive? I don't know. I got my roommate in Hudson Valley, Jackson Castillo. He was always pretty level-headed. He knows what he's doing. He likes to process a lot. So I think that's somebody that I trust to kind of get us all. Yeah, get us off. Okay, smooth. Throughout you could do pro or college for this one too. But what's your favorite city that you played in? I think it really depends on like the atmosphere. It's like it's really different. I've kind of a couple because in Florida, I think Tampa is a great place to be. But also we played in Brooklyn on Coney Island, which was really nice for its own reasons because there was always a lot of people there, and you're in the middle of Brooklyn, right near New York City, pretty much. So like just getting that vibe and the feel, it's fun. But I think that's fun for me in moderation too. So I'd say probably Brooklyn, and then Tampa are probably my two favorites. Yeah.
Okay, smooth. If you weren't, on track to go to the MLB, what would be your dream job? Like money aside, like
Yeah.
dream things like.
Yeah, this is another good one I haven't really, like I said, thought too much into. I don't know. I think kind of go off the list. I'd be doing something fun, something creative.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'd like maybe be like a pilot or something. Somewhere just like a different lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then favorite hobby for you right now, like outside of baseball, when you're not on the diamond.
Yeah, definitely traveling. Just getting out, getting around. I would do that during the season. If we were in a different city, trying to at least get out and explore when we had like a late start or a day off somewhere. And that was always nice to just kind of mix things up.
Yeah. What's your favorite place you've been?
I mean, Philly was fun. I got to do that. We were playing in Wilmington. Kind of just been a little bit everywhere. We did like the actual Jersey Shore, like on the beaches when we were down there, and then New York City. We had a full off day there when we went to Brooklyn. So we got to. It was like me and like 6 other guys, and we all went out and we did just about everything you can do in the city during the day. So just like little things like that. So I don't really have one that sticks out, but just mixing it up. Yeah.
Smooth. Okay, and then last one. You have like a unique talent that people
Unique talent. I can't rattle anything off the top of my head, which is not great, but I'll be working on that. I got a lot of time with these off seasons, so I'll try and I'll have them for you next time we catch up. Yeah.
Sounds good, bro. Dillon, appreciate you for jumping on the podcast, man. Good luck in your upcoming season. Inside Marlins, man, we're gonna be supporting you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Smooth.
All right.
Thanks so much, bro.